1.4 How to take away a voice, make a person mute. If you take 2 fingers by the skin on the throat of someone who has already passed the suggestibility test before the moment of finger coupling, having previously said, "Now I will take away your voice and you will not be able to speak," pull 2 fingers by the skin and pull your hand away with a clenched fist and say, "Here is your voice, try to speak," then the suggestible. Naturally, he wouldn't be able to say anything, no matter how hard he tried. If you clap your hands after saying, "I'm going to clap my hands and you'll forget your first and last name," then the subject will forget his first and last name. He is in full of your power. He stands with his eyes open, understands everything, maybe even makes an attempt to resist, but nothing works out for him. He talks, even argues with you, but he is completely at your mercy. And if you tell him to forget what happened to him, he will forget and will not remember anything. You can also give him a post-hypnotic suggestion, that is, to set him up to perform a certain action at a certain time, and he will forget about it and perform the required action at the right time, as if by his own volition. The spectacle is, of course, amazing, especially when it is demonstrated on stage in front of the audience. 1.5 Detailed analysis of the method of suggestion without immersion in sleep. Let's take a closer look at the formulas and techniques by which you brought the subject into this state. As mentioned earlier, in order to activate the subconscious mind, you need to provide reinforcement with real action. The most powerful reinforcement that acts as a push on the subconscious mind is obtained when you shout without pause. The tension is growing. Look at your hands. 3. You see how your hands are getting closer. The moment you shout 3, he will abruptly lower his head, and so as he looked into your eyes before, lowering his head will automatically cause his hands to move towards each other. At that moment, he still hadn't thought of anything, hadn't even comprehended the fact that there was a hand movement. It was only his subconscious mind that recorded it. You don't let him comprehend it, but just shout it into his subconscious. These words reinforced what had really happened and what his subconscious had involuntarily fixed. Another important point is that you force your fingers to spread as wide as possible so that they arch back. When you say that the tension in the hands is growing, it is really growing. This is primarily due to the fact that the hands become numb on their own. When you say the settings, you can still hold your fingers and shake them a little when you say, "Fingers as wide as possible." Your fingers are like nails. By doing this, you ensure that your subject spreads his fingers with all his might and bends them back. The third most important component of entering the subconscious mind due to reinforcement by real action will be the moment when you shout out without pause in one breath. Your fingers are like all metal. You can't make a fist with your fingers. Try it. You see, your hands obey only my commands. My words are affecting you. My words are getting into your brain. I completely control you. There is a nuance here. Any normal person who conscientiously spreads his fingers with all his might and bends them forcefully back to the back, having been in this position for more than a minute, he cannot just take and squeeze his fingers. They become numb, and at first the subject simply cannot do it. This sensitively catches his subconscious mind, and at this moment you shout out what is said above. And now it turns out a paradox. The subject could have already clasped his hands, the moment of stupor is passing, but the subconscious is already blocking this attempt. He's just not in a position to make that attempt anymore. The subject's consciousness can no longer destroy the established connection between you and his subconscious. It's already yours. Next, once again, for reliability, the installations continue and the hands of the subject are brought to the coupling. You can see this with different variations among professionals touring the country. Instead of a handheld suggestibility test, there may be a test in which the entire room participates. Everyone gets up and imagines with their eyes closed that they are riding on a train. Those who sway at the very thought are the most suggestible at the moment, and they are invited to the stage. The subconscious mind of the one who swayed received the first reinforcement, as this fact was not ignored by his own subconscious. And then it's a matter of technique. Everyone can have their own formulas. For this technique, every word is important, intonation is important, and word order is important. If you change anything, the result will be negative. So, we continue to go deeper. Before you start performing psychological experiments, you should give yourself a positive instruction. I will do it perfectly. I have every right to do it. Now that you're convinced that it's that simple, you'll have to give up the idea that it's all so simple. We have considered only the tip of the iceberg. During the experiments, you must follow 10 mandatory rules. Remember how in magic, the combination of simple rules gives a magical effect. These are the rules, and they contain the whole point. Remember, if at least one of these rules is not followed, you will fail.